Welcome, everybody, to the Omniverse Comics Guide podcast. We are your Omniverse Comics Guide guys. I'm Eric. That's my pal, Dave.
No, I'm not.
How's it going, dude?
I'm all right, thanks, dude. You always say strap in. I'm going to strap in.
Beautiful. For those that aren't watching the podcast, Dave is strapped in. He's got his flight goggles on. This is going to be a wild ride.
Yeah.
Everybody that is with us on Twitch, thank you for joining us as always. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up and a subscribe, as well as on any podcast platform where you are listening to us, maybe on your commute home or while you're making food, whatever the case may be. But don't forget to visit the Omniverse. Yeah, I've listened to many a podcast cooking dinner.
Oh, that's fair enough.
I think my wife does it all the time, so that's what came to my head. I'm like, yeah, she always listens to podcasts when she cooks.
Seems so specific.
Maybe that's what I know.
If you're making food, otherwise, off. We're not interested.
If you're clipping your toenails, listening to us, whatever the case may be, plucking an eyebrow,
just one.
Ingrown hair.
The other one, wild.
Yeah, leave the other one all to itself. Thank you for listening, but please don't forget to visit the omniversecomics.guide website. All of the podcasts are there. Interviews, collector item specials, our reading lists, reading orders that Dave beautifully puts together. Check it out. Everything is there. And there's bonus stuff for Patreon members. So maybe you want to subscribe and get the bonus materials that we got there for you.
You can get some bonus stuff like Many Arms of Iron Man. You can get extended versions of the podcast. You can get what to read before big events. All sorts of crazy shiz.
That's right. Omniversecomics.guide.
That's the one.
Dave, incoming. Hello. September.
Yeah.
Sheesh, where did the year go?
Where did the year go? And why did they release all the books I want in 1 month?
Isn't that how it goes, right?
Well, every year, man. I mean, like, surely there's like that's a bad business move to release everything that everyone's been looking forward to in the same month.
What do you think it is that makes that happen, though?
I don't know. But you look back at the rest of the year and you go,
money?
I've got a pot. And I'm going to buy this, and this with it. And some of it I don't even want. But I guess, it's from my pot. And then you go, like, you get to September and you're going, I would have bought all of this through the year instead of this.
Yeah.
It seems
100%.
stupid. But that's what they do.
Yeah. I don't know if it's is it people going back to school, back to work? Do people have some disposable income
if your kids are going back to school, the last thing you have is disposable income. You've just been on holiday. You've got to pay for school uniforms. It the worst time.
Quarter.
And so many people are born in September. It's all the birthdays in my family are September because everyone celebrates Christmas the right way.
Gotcha. It's all the time.
Hey, Santa's not the only one who empties his sack once a year.
That was good. The best dad ever. Take a sip. I love it.
I did have a message, dude.
Yes. Tell me your message.
I wanted to say a big thank you to Groot's Horticulturalist on Reddit. Reddit is an interesting little cesspool where it's almost cultish at the minute. It's very strange. If you're not of a certain allegiance, they don't want you there. It's very, very odd. But Groot's Horticulturalist has been shouting us out on there and going that there are other options instead of these people and these people who want to promote their YouTube channels. You've also got omniversecomics.guide, which is like, what? That's very sweet of you, man. So yeah, I just wanted to say thanks because it's nice to have people shout you out. And also, if I'm going to be in this ballpark, it would be remiss of me not to mention BC Scrubs and his weekly shout-outs to us on Instagram. So there are
very much appreciated.
When anyone does this, it's so appreciated. And if I notice it or if I don't notice it, can you tag us in on socials? And I will add you to the list and shout you out just because it seems so rare now. It's like if people get information from somewhere, from say a certain podcast, they don't necessarily want to say where they got the information from. They just want to go like, I found out about these books. And you go like, yeah, but you've just listed all the stuff we did in an episode. So, we're on to you, Mo Flipper.
Does that happen?
Yeah. It's happened a lot, especially with Raf's manga episodes. There was one particular thing where someone had 3 books and they went, I bought these. They go like, why aren't you shouting out the episode, Mother Muffler?
Mother Muffler. I like that. It's a good euphemism. I mean, at least people are watching. That's the good thing.
As long as people are having
Right.
fun, they're watching, they're buying comics, don't really care. But if you do shout us out, we hugely appreciate it. Tag us, and we will shout you right back. We'll have a little shout out
100%.
section.
There you go. Well, next episode, big shout outs.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect for you. You can do it.
I got so many people. All right. I will start off sending a shout out for my first pick. This is, I'm excited to talk about it because it's a local pal of mine, Ricky Lima. His book Undergrowth is coming out September 3rd with Top Shelf.
Ooh.
It was I remember when he first launched it as a Kickstarter, and we did podcasts about it back on the Cave of Solitude. So it's really cool now to see this be picked up. It's going to be in full color. Him and Daniele Aquilani, Italian guy that he just reached out to. They met online and they put this book together and they made it happen. Now Top Shelf is going to publish it. So it was so cool to see this kind of like the germ of the idea, and now it's a 300-page book.
Wow, 300-page book.
Yeah. Ricky, he likes to blend genres.
Okay.
So after Red and her friends are killed by invaders from beyond, they're revived inside massive organic battle techs. Time to take their planet back. An epic graphic novel about global crisis, mental health, and giant robots.
Aww.
That's the...
I'm aroused. That is exactly the kind of thing I like.
Yeah, there's a lot of that mech battling stuff throughout it. I'm so happy for him, proud of him. Special shout out to him. Yeah, and I can say that we're gonna have him on the show because he sent us an advanced reader copy of Undergrowth, and so he's like, "Come on, we got to do an epic podcast." So I'm gonna get him on the Omniverse. I've interviewed him a bunch in the past, but yeah, we'll have him on the Omniverse. We'll make his debut, and we'll talk about Undergrowth. So shout out to Ricky.
Looking forward to it. That sounds amazing.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited for him.
Nice. Okay.
Thank you.
My first choice is super mainstream. It's X-Men Mutant Massacre Prelude Omnibus. It's the one we've been waiting for. So it's the one we were, let's be honest, it was the one we were screwed out of by Marvel. So when they released Uncanny X-Men Volume 5, we were shorted from a number of things. I did a little Instagram story where I had a pseudo rant looking very cross. like it was the most important thing in the world. Yes, how dare they? But they did short us from a number of things, and it's like the way they've collected Omnis for X-Men over the years. While they've had Uncanny X-Men, they've also had those like in the Inferno books, like the oversized hardcovers, and Fall of the Mutants, and all that kind of stuff. And they've put all the other ancillary titles in there as well. So to release Uncanny X-Men Volume 5, not included them, seemed a bit weird. There was an announcement from a fairly popular YouTube channel as to why that happened, which seemed to be prepped by Marvel, in my eyes. But I don't know. The whole thing, I was quite cynical about the whole thing, to be honest. And it just seemed very strange, because they were saying, like, well, the mapping is different in Omnis. It's like, okay, for one thing, it's not mapping. We're not f***ing Magellan. It's comics. Like... Come on. And why have comic people got to overblow everything? So, yeah, it's a reading order, man. So
Let me do your reading order.
It's a reading order. Off. So the mapping was like, oh, that's not how we do it in Omnis. It's exactly how you've done it in these books for years. Even though they weren't called Omnibus, they were oversized hard. They were exactly the same thing. Now, they're correcting it. They're releasing the Mutant Massacre Prelude Omnibus. It's not technically a prelude to Mutant Massacre in that not much of it actually relates to what happens in Mutant Massacre, but I don't care. They've got a laundry list of stuff in there, including Uncanny X-Men 194 to 209, a couple of X-Men annuals, the Asgardian Wars storyline, the Longshot miniseries, the Phoenix, the Return of Jean Grey, basically, X Factor 1 to 8, an annual 1, Iron Man annual 8, which is a X Factor related. It's like, that's not even X-Men, you know? It's not Mutant Massacre related. So it's an interesting collection of stories. But I'm glad they're doing it in this format. I think it sounded like the if what was said was to be believed, it sounded like Uncanny X-Men Volume 5 was very rushed. And frankly, I think it was a mistake. And I've seen a lot of people sell their copies. Have I been saying 4 the whole time when it's 5? I think I have.
I think it's 5.
That's only pissed on my rant. So it's 5. Hey, I can be wrong sometimes. I'm not too goatee bearded to not accept that.
You know what? I trust you so much that I'm like, if he says it's 4,
he said it was 4, man. It must be 4. Let's undo time. What I'll do is I'll go 5 every so often. I'll dub it.
Maybe you know, I think Dave, maybe you do need a map after all.
Oh shit! I do need Magellan. I need Comics Magellan to help me out here.
No, but you're not wrong at all about the frustration in the way that the Omnis were coming, and then they had all of those event Omnis, which I get it. Like, I think after
makes perfect sense.
I think if they would have just collected Volume 5 the way they're doing this prelude to Mutant Massacre, which I don't know why they had to separate the two. I think after Volume 5, maybe, I could be wrong, Mutant Massacre forward, you can do event omnibuses for X-Men. Because every title starts tying. Right.
Because if you don't, it doesn't make sense. Because like the X books are so closely tied. If you go like, oh, we're only going to include Cable 32 and 31 in this. 32 and 31. 31 and 32 in this. Why? Just like, why? Because then you're going to have to find it somewhere. Like, this doesn't make any sense. So, very happy to see this collected finally. Ignore all the bits we've cut. La 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 la. Yeah. I'm glad to see this come out in the way that's come out. It makes perfect sense. It kind of wraps up the era that I want collected. And a lot of people want collected because it's like, it's a good chunk of the 80s and it's one of the best parts of the 80s. I wish they'd not made us buy the other book, but they did. So
this, technically, if I wanted to replace Volume 5.
Volume 5.
All right. This is one I never thought they would make. I'm afraid to know how many volumes I'm going to have to buy, but I can't not buy it. And that's, you think it's 8? 10?
I don't have enough fingers.
Ugh.
No, it won't be. I'm not sure.
But I'm thrilled that I'm finally going to get a full collection of Superman in the Triangle Era. Volume 1 is coming out in September. I won't believe it until I see it.
No, me either.
These are the comics that 6-year-old me was flipping through and learning to read. I remember a lot of these issues vividly, the ones that I did own. But it was a very good creative. I think this would take place in and around after the Exile storyline, Exile and other stories from that omnibus.
Yes.
I think just after that.
It's immediately after. No, it's not immediately after. There's about 2 Omnis worth of stuff there that we're not getting.
Wow. I didn't realize it's that much.
Yeah, it's a lot. But because it's 4 titles a month and spin-offs and annuals.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of story during this time because it was like a weekly title. So you're getting, it's like a television show. And each title kind of focused, sort of like Spider-Man, focused on different parts of his life. So it was action, adventures, Superman, and then at this time, in and around this time, they would throw in Man of Steel.
Yes, Man of Steel 1 to 8.
So, yeah, lots of story, great creators. You got Dan Jurgens, Jerry Ordway, Louise Simonson comes on, Roger Stern.
How can you not?
Yeah, you got Dan Jurgens on artwork. I think you got Brett Breeding on inks. Who else am I forgetting? Butch Geis.
Mm-hmm.
John Bogdanov is doing Man of Steel. I liked his Man of Steel stuff grew on me. I didn't always like his other work that he did, but him on Man of Steel felt it was him and Louise Simonson was pretty good.
I still think he's underrated.
Yeah, I think so too. And then somewhere down the line here on Adventures, you get Tom Grummett. It's great. I think it's one of those overlooked titles of its time. Because it's Superman and it's corny to like Superman. It
shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be. This should have happened ages ago. I can't believe it's only happened. It's great that it's happening now, don't get me wrong. But this should have happened 10 years ago.
I agree. And then, they've reprinted Death and Return of Superman a bunch of times. This is going to be in there. All of that stuff is going to be included. Not in this omnibus, but down the line. Those stories will be there.
Dude. Omega Bread says, I want this Superman collection more than any other omnibus that's due out this year. I have it pre-ordered on 2 different sites just to make sure I get a copy. But this is what gets me about DC, and this is not a slag off of DC, because actually I'm chuffed with what they're doing right now. Chuffed is means anal sex. So
I must just take a Coke everywhere.
How appropriate. Jeez. So the thing that gets me about it is like, how has this not happened yet? And everyone's going, I want this as an omnibus. I want this stuff as an omnibus. And I want the Byrne stuff as an omnibus and the Busiek stuff as an omnibus. And it's just not happening. Like, listen to the people. They're wanting it. Do it. But like, it's been very sporadic. Like, The Exile was a beautiful collector edition, but I don't know if it was maybe named wrong, or did it do well? I don't know. But it felt obscure, and it shouldn't have felt obscure. It was really, it's a really key period of Superman. Like, a load of stuff happens in that, like the Fortress of Solitude and the Warworld saga, the original Warworld saga, and all sorts. Like, it's massive and it's brilliant. It's a great read, but this should have happened sooner.
They never did John Byrne omnibus for Superman, which all you would have done is 2, because they have 4 of those deluxe, right? You just make 2 omnis. People would definitely be in for that. Exile right after. It's very easy to map it.
Fuck you.
And like you said, it seems like a lot. It is a lot of books that are going to be coming out, and not everything of the Triangle era was golden in regards to like after Superman Returns. Like, it's not all great, because then you get into just 90 comics, right? A lot of 90. It was just churning out too much story, right?
You can say that with any era, and I think, but the thing is that there's always gems, and when it comes down to it, I don't think people. It's like with that rant that I saw on Reddit at one point, which was like, why do you omnibus people want everything? It's like, well, that's the point of an omnibus, is to have everything, and then you decide for yourself. It's not that this is a great storyline and now here's a storyline that happened,
skip it
like 7 years after, and you're going, what?
Yeah.
You get to read it all. That's the benefit.
Yes.
Why would you fight that?
Yeah. It's like Walt Simonson Thor, you don't include the Balder and the Brave issues. Why?
Yeah, just take them out. Why? Take them out. Who cares? Like,
yeah.
Include them.
Don't do that. Yeah,
it's not your decision. Let people decide for themselves. The more Superman I read, the more I love Superman. It doesn't matter if it's great comics or not. I just love Superman.
Makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good buzz.
Yeah, I'm thrilled.
Okay. Last year, I went to Portsmouth Comic Con and met Paul Cornell, who is the writer of Captain Britain MI13, amongst numerous other things. I've really loved his stuff on that particular book, and I think that was the series that won me over. That was a Marvel series that initially was launched during Secret Invasion. Now, over at Vertigo, he did a series called Saucer Country, which is what it sounds like. It's all about aliens invading and the fallout of that, and not in an unrealistic way. Presidential candidate Arcadia Alvarado has a terrible secret. She's been abducted by aliens. To discover what that means for her and for America, she picks a team of eccentric helpers and with them goes on a journey through UFO mythology, political intrigue, and Saucer Country. Paul Cornell and Ryan Kelly present the complete collection of their Hugo-nominated UFO conspiracy thriller. I love this guy's writing. I'm really intrigued by this. And the thing that's really, really pulling me in on this book is this is the completed edition. So while this takes the original 12-issue miniseries that came out from Vertigo, there's also the 6-issue follow-up and some newly created material to finish the whole saga off, which is Saucer County, the finale. It's down as a deluxe edition, but it's a paperback. But it's 440 pages. Paul Cornell and Ryan Kelly. And I want in. Paul Cornell's just a fun writer. So that's it. That's my pitch. Night.
Nice. It was on my list.
Was it?
Yes, it was going to be my blind buy.
Oh, dude. I'm semi-apologetic.
Okay. I'm happy you mentioned it. No, it sounds like a lot of fun. I like when...
I have a semi.
I like when the elevator pitch can get you to I want to read that. What else is there?
And it's a chunker of a book. It's 440 pages. That's quite a nice amount.
We like our chunkers.
We like a chunker. We like them big.
Uh, all right. My number 3 before commercial break.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go back to my nostalgia.
Oh.
So I'm very happy with the Superman Triangle Era Omnibus, and this is the next one. I'm happy that they're making it in this format, the Spider-Man Black Costume Saga. I'm a fan of Ron Friends, Tom DeFalco era Spider-Man. Sweet spot for me in my Spider-Man fandom. I'm happy that it's going to be all collected like this, cover to cover. I mean, they've had it out in different formats, whether it be like the chunky Alien Saga collected editions, and I think there
The
might have
last
been
was two trade paperbacks,
2 trades, yeah.
like a 2-volume
So
trade paperback set. Yeah.
So I could see why I wasn't sure why they wouldn't put it in an omnibus earlier, since they had it set up in these different formats that they were collected in order or whatnot. But yeah, I like this era of Spider-Man. Again, a time that is transitional where he's reunited with Mary Jane. You got a lot of classic covers. I remember that very famous cover from Ron Friends where it's the 2 Spider-Man costumes are pulling him,
Yes.
and they included that in like the animated series. I remember seeing that as a kid. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So yeah, I'm excited for this one, and I feel like it also kind of fills the gap. It would follow up right after the Roger Stern Spider-Man. Do you know where this one collects up to?
It says.
Oh, but this would
Oh no,
include
there's quite.
Spectacular
It's Amazing
and
Spider-Man
Web.
263, so there's a fair chunk. Cause like Todd McFarlane jumped on at 298.
Yeah. Because
So
this
it's
is the Alien costume, like the Black Costume Saga.
yeah.
So
So
it's the
there's Gang War
Spectacular,
and
the Web.
there's
Yeah.
the wedding stuff and Craver's Last Hunt
Yes.
and all that kind of stuff. So there's a bit of a gap.
Would this make
But
your
this is
list
how
of?
you do it. This was on my top 5 because I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited to have this on the shelf. I had the trades and sold them, and cha-ching, that did all right. That did all right, mate. I don't know if someone didn't know. Like, oh, I'm gonna fight for those. Like, the omnibus is coming out, mate. Sorry, but
Oh no.
oh well. Them's the breaks. All's fair in love and nerd. So yeah, I really want this book, and I really hope they continue to collect this way because I think this is the way to do Spider-Man. He's got multiple titles a month. Why wouldn't you put the multiple titles together, as we were saying earlier? So great era, 1980s, introducing the Puma. It's got the alien costume, obviously, but it's not just that. It's the fallout of that. It's where that goes. It's how it interacts with the Fantastic Four, and he becomes closer to the Fantastic Four to a certain degree. We've got the Black Hat saga as well with the Kingpin and the Spot, and the introduction of the Spot. We've got the launch of Web of Spider-Man. We've got some issues of Marvel Team Up in there. It's just a fun mix of dumb fun 80s Spidey comics. Yeah, go on then.
And I like Ron Friends' style because I think we talked about this a little bit. I could be wrong, but I get the feeling that whoever he's working on, he taps into what the original creator was doing in the way that he draws them. So when he did Thor, he tapped into a little bit more of a Kirby aspect, whereas with
Yeah,
Spider-Man, he made him a little bit more slender into
he
that
did.
Ditko style of. He didn't make him quite the John Romita good looking. You didn't make him ugly, but his Spider-Man was still a little bit more lanky.
It was more Spidey. There was a more Ditko-esque. I'd never noticed that before. Look at you, you little
Yeah.
trickster.
What's going on in the Omniverse?
Well, it's funny you should ask, Erickson. There's a few things going on in the Omniverse. New to the Omniverse. Character reading orders. We've got the Deadpool and Wolverine reading order, 1994 to present. So it's every story that's got Wolverine and Deadpool together. From 2000 AD, the Zenith reading order, 1987 to present, from Grant Morrison and Steve Yowell. Coming of Galactus. Podcast and video, we've got the incoming episode for August 2024, and then top 10 most wanted Marvel Omnis. J.M. DeMatteis re-enters the Demultiverse is the other podcast episode, so we got 3 there to choose from. Special feature, the manga spotlight on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1. So this is a guide to help you find a place to jump on to the manga JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and it's written by our very own Raph Reeds. Every time I get one from him, it warms me cockles. I love it. And subscriber exclusive, What to Read Before Day of Judgment, the 1999 DC Comics event. And that was the first event written by Jeff Johns. I got nothing else.
That's not true. You've got a number 3 incoming.
What? Okay, number 3 for incoming, as you just mentioned, is the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider Omniverse, Volume 1. This has been a long time coming. It's the first 24 issues of the 1990 series of Ghost Rider. So it follows on from the series that Johnny Blaze was the star of. So it was a new Ghost Rider. It was a 90s relaunch. This stuff is just great fun. Written by Howard Mackey, art by Mark Texeira and Javier Saltares. This is so much fun, man. And there's crossovers here from like Mark Spector Moon Knight 25, Doctor Strange crossover in here. There's one with Punisher War Journal. Hearts of Darkness is also included, which is the John Romita Jr. drawn one-shot with Wolverine and Punisher. And there's some stuff from Marvel Comics Presents Ghost Rider from the 90s. Like we've been clamoring for a long, long time. It's 1,216 pages, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this.
Who was the main writer of that era?
That's Howard Mackey. So
Howard Mackey.
After this, it gets to 28, and then we're talking the Midnight Suns stuff. So it was when Ghost Rider did really well, and they went, let's have a horror line. So they added Morbius, Night Stalkers. God, what were the other books? Darkhold, the Midnight Suns Unlimited was in there as well, and Spirits of Vengeance. But this is the best bit. So even though you won't get the answers to the mysteries mentioned in this is before it gets into like, okay, let's have 5 different titles every month. But it's still just great comics. Almost like if you ignore the fact you're not going to get those answers, you're still going to have a fun time reading these comics, man.
Seems like even in the comments right now, everyone's really excited for this stuff. Like it's got like a soft spot for everybody. So yeah, there you go.
It's hitting the field.
Nice.
It was a nice period where they were launching new titles like Darkhawk, New Warriors, Guardians of the Galaxy. There's so much stuff that came out. And this is why I don't agree with this 90s hate. So yeah, don't miss out on this, seriously, because I don't know, license-wise, I don't know what the situation is. So if you have been wanting this for a while, grab it.
All right. I have to talk about Avengers Volume 2 from Kurt Busiek. If you didn't get it the first time, try to get it this time. I didn't get it the first time because I had everything in the complete collected trades. But I just love this series so much myself. This volume will have Kang Dynasty,
yes,
which is a very classic Avengers story.
If you love Kieran Dwyer and Alan Davis, also. So they mentioned George Perez in the title, but you also get art from those creators as well. I love Kieran Dwyer and Alan Davis. So yes, please.
Where does this pick up from, Dave?
So it starts off with the sequel to The Eighth Day crossover, and then it goes into a new lineup change. I love those issues with the lineup changes. And then it goes into a Thunderbolts crossover. Maximum Security is in there as well, which I know some people are really down on as an event, but I actually quite liked it. And the Ultron Imperative is part of the Kang Dynasty, which is the sequel to the Ultron story from the previous volume.
I don't know if I ever read that. I think I skipped over that. Yeah, it felt. I was just trying to get into it, but I'm like, I'm not into this story. For some reason, it's not doing it for me. But Kang Dynasty is
the rest of it is great. Like, oh, and also Ivan Reyes, draws at least one issue, and you can see the skills we're going to get in the future. So that was part of the Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, no, highly recommend. I speak about it often enough for people to know how much I love the Kurt Busiek Avengers stuff. I just finished, actually, speaking of Busiek, was the Astro City Metro book, Volume 1. Just read the first volume.
Yeah.
19 issues. It's good stuff, man. It's mid-90s. I didn't realize it was right in the middle of the 90s when he was doing this. So it's before him being on Avengers and all the other things, Thunderbolts and things like that. I think it was like concurrent as he was working on Astro City, but he started it just, and you can see kind of like what you mentioned with the Ivan Reyes art. You can kind of see like, man, this guy's going to take stories some places, but this is special, the Astro City, because it's slice of life. A little more like superhero slice. Have you read any of it?
No, none of it. But I remember working in a comic shop at that time and going, I need to read this book. But I was so Marvel fixated that I didn't. I read some other stuff that wasn't Marvel, but I never read Astro City. It was quite hard to get hold of in there because it used to just fly off the shelf. I was at MCM London in 2023 and I bumped into a Mr. Christian Ward who was hinting that he was working on something big. It's now going to be out in hardcover format, and that's Batman City of Madness. Now,
on my list.
Oh, Duda Reno.
But it's a Christian Ward, right?
It's Christian Ward.
You just want to see how are you going to do it? What are you going to do?
I'm really intrigued by this. Now, I love that when you read the thing on certain book sites, it says multi-Eisner Award winner Christian Ward. I mean, this is how awesome his art is, and it really is. Like, I love his stuff so much. And also, just as a person to watch, so he was being interviewed on stage at one point, and he's just a fascinating guy. I just think his story is great, like how he came from being an art teacher to a comic artist. Like, he followed the dream and it paid off, and then he's writing Batman, and Batman is like one of his favorite, if not his all-time favorite character. He's done a Batman storyline, and it's technically a sequel of sorts to Batman Arkham Asylum by Grant Morrison.
Huh.
So it's not a 3-issue book like it is for normal comics, because it's Black Label. So it's those bigger books. They're normally a little chunkier. They're all collected into one 160-page volume. And it's going to be some trippy shit with a kind of Cthulhu mythos element to it. And Cthulhu mythos and Batman smushy into the ones. Yeah, all right.
With Christian Ward
drawing it.
Oh boy. Yeah, this was just for the creator.
Yeah.
There's some books you just want to pick up, like how he drew Batman. I gotta see it.
Yeah.
Right? So definitely worth checking out. Not that there isn't enough Batman books out there to look up and buy and this, that, or the other, but the way to I think to whittle it down, Christian Ward's drawing it.
Christian Ward. Plus, if you do like the Court of Owls stuff, the Court of Owls are in this as well.
There you go. Nice. I'll check this out.
Good boy.
My numero cinco for tonight.
Wow.
I am going to go with Dark Horse. Shout out to Dark Horse.
What are you picking?
And a writer who I'm very fond of, Matt Kindt. If you find this, I'm Already Dead is the book, hardcover, 120 pages. September 17th is the release date online. If you probably could get it a week early if you go to a store, but I'll just read the description because it got me right away. Robin is a big city reporter embedded with U.S. Marines heading to the hostile pocket universe called Terminus. 10 minutes in, the entire Marine squad is wiped out, and she has to survive and report on her own. Then I see this thing in the description about cosmic wonders, sci-fi gods, political power struggle. Yeah,
what?
You got me with the sci. Yeah, it's wild. So Matt Kindt doing some cosmic stuff, political reporting on Terminus, cosmic gods, sci-fi gods. Right up my alley.
But the thing with this as well, it's the title alone had me. Just the title. If you find this, right? I'm Already Dead. It's like, oh, there's something kind of cool about that. It's like things to do in Denver when you're dead. Matt Kindt has a whole load of titles coming out from Dark Horse at the moment. So definitely jump on those. But this one looks particularly intriguing.
All right, that's my 5. What's your 5? Round it out, Dave.
Okay, so my 5th choice for tonight is from IDW Publishing.
Ooh.
It's Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. If someone watched our episode with Xander Cannon of Kaiju Max fame, they will know that this was a bit of a recommendation way back when. It's 152 pages regardless. It's by Patrick Horvath. It is a murder mystery series, but there's a slight twist to it. So while Kaiju Max is a very cutesy series about kaiju in a prison, so it looks very cute and cartoonish, but it's also quite dark and disarming. This is very, very similar. So this is a cute thing about a little village of little bears, little goat people, little mouse people, and one of them is a serial killer. But someone in her town kills somebody. And as they start to look into who this serial killer or who this murderer might be, she's thinking, I need to not get found out here because I normally do the killing. So she's trying to find the killer before the authorities do. because it's done with little anthropomorphic characters, it's just one of those things where you're kind of going, why is this so charming? And yet it's just so blood riddled. It's so dark. But it works. There's something about it that works. I've read it because I couldn't wait, frankly. There was something about it. I couldn't wait. So I've got the digital version, but I'm going to get the book. It's a great book. It's by Patrick Horvath. It's a really fun series, but I'd love to see a sequel. I don't know if we'll ever get one, or if we don't necessarily need one, but yeah, I'd take it straight away. The art on this is beautiful, yet riddled with killings.
Anything else on the list that didn't make the top 5?
So they did not make it for this time around. I mean, I'm going to try and breeze through because the list is big, and the only reason I've let it be big is because these are some key books, man. So Dark Horse are releasing Mortal Terror by Chris Roberson, who is one of the co-writers of the Hellboy stuff. That looks like a really fun horror series. Star Wars Vader's Castle, the library edition, is a very accessible Star Wars book. Batman Superman World's Finest Volume 4 from DC Comics, Return to the Kingdom. So if you're a Kingdom Come fan, you're going to get a payoff. Batman 66 Omniverse, Batman Incorporated the Complete Series, Batman The Long Halloween Deluxe, Batman The Arkham Saga Omnibus. This is a very, very Batman-heavy month, but aren't they all? Elseworlds Superman Volume 1 and Elseworlds Justice League Volume 2 are also out. Joker by James Tynion Compendium. And finally, one I do highly recommend and should have been on my list, but you've only got so many spaces, is We 3, the 20th Anniversary Deluxe Edition. From IDW, we've got Sleeping Beauties by Stephen and Owen King, the Deluxe Edition. Jumping over to Image Comics, we've got Bloodstain Volume 1, oversized hardcover. Complete Darkness Volume 3, so that's the Darkness has finally hit the Volume 3 stage, which it's never managed before. And this is the volume I've been wanting because it's got Dale Keown's art on it. Crave by Maria Lovett. Extremity Deluxe Edition by Danny Warren Johnson, Mirka Andolfo's Sweet Paprika Omnibus, Satellite Sam Compendium, which is by Matt Fraction, Spawn Compendium Volume 6 is edging towards the modern era, Marvel Excalibur Omnibus Volume 3, which I never thought I'd see in my lifetime, Micronauts The Original Marvel Years Volume 2, Mystic Omnibus, which is a cross-gen book. I really wanted this book. But, we've got to make some hard choices because you put everything in September. Thor by Cates and Klein Omnibus, Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 4, which is so close to the end of that entire saga, and I highly recommend it and nearly made my list. Venom Epic Collection, Shiver, and X Factor, the original Years Omnibus Volume 1. Scout are releasing By the Horns Volume 2, which is something I've been waiting for so long. And Valiant and Alien Books are releasing Valiant Hero Universe Origins Unity. And Unity is their team book with all their big players in it. It ain't your Justice League. It's way more aggressive.
That is a good month.
Sheesh. Really good month. Like, too good. And that's what I mean. Too many books. Too many books. Too many books. Too many books in 1 month. Spread them out.
As always a pleasure. September is going to be a fun month of reading.
Isn't it? It's so good.
Yes.
So good. If you're a comics fan, in fairness, there is so much for you to choose from.
Yes, so much. There's a lot of good things to read. The second half of the year is very heavy with big releases. Like October, I think you get the DC Marvel Omnis. Crazy.
I still think they should be 2 different months. Like the 2 volumes. Like, why do it in the same month?
Are they the same month, same day? I don't know.
Same day. Exactly the same day, yeah. Too much.
But anyways, everybody be sure to visit the omniversecomics.guide for all of our previous incoming episodes to see what you might have missed. That's worth checking out if you do go to a comic book shop and say, what's been coming out in the last year or two that I should keep an eye out for. You never know. Everyone watching on the Twitch, thank you so much. Don't forget to give us a rate and a subscribe, thumbs up. Give us a review as well. We don't mind. Be nice. It doesn't hurt. It takes a lot less effort to be nice.
Doesn't it?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And for everyone watching on YouTube, thank you for joining us. Dave, I bid you adieu.